Thank you for coming, and I want to welcome each one of you to the Planning Committee. This is a newly constructed Planning Committee members in here, and I want to welcome each one of you who are members of this committee. Thank you for attending. We have apologies, and there's only one from Alderman Bloomfield. Confirmation of minutes. Someone would like to move?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Ben Luberger. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Consolidation of supplementary items, there being none. Number 3, indications of pecuniary or conflict of interests. No. Number 4, transfer agenda item. No. Number 5, planning authority items, consideration of items with deputations, there being none. Number 6, committee acting as planning authority under Rule 25 of the meeting procedure, and we now acting as planning authority. 6.1.1. Now we have the council applicant here with us, Greg Mill. Hope I pronounced it correctly. So if you have any questions, I'm sure he would be able to answer. Are you moving it as a?
I'll move the item.
Recommendation.
I'll move the recommendation, but I do have some questions.
Okay, please.
Thank you. Through you to the director, how much did the heritage assessment cost council?
Through you, Chair, I'm just going to be a little bit careful. My role tonight is to advise the planning committee, and Mr. Milne is here to represent the applicant. So I'll defer to Mr. Milne on that one if he's aware of that figure.
Through you, Chair, I can't give you a specific answer on that, other than to say that for the last, in line with standard values and reports, there was the landslide assessment, the heritage assessment, the natural values assessment. So generally in the order of sort of $5,000 to $10,000 some of those reports cost. I can't tell you specifically on what the heritage report cost on this occasion though, without taking that on notice.
Follow-up questions, if I may. How will the proposed alignment of this track affect both Noah's Waterhole and the very popular business time track, which I think goes across? Can anyone answer that?
Through you, Chair, it becomes the official and formal track connecting the top of Knocklofty across to the slide. So I think the track, from my familiarity, that you refer to as business time is not an official track. So this proposal, as it's put forward, creates the official legal sanctioned track for the whole connection, and any informal trails that cross that will be, the intersections would be closed down.
Any other question, Councillor Basalt? Do you know?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Harvey.
Through you, Chair. Greg, who's going to do the work on this track?
Through you, Chair, we have a design and construct contract with Next Level, who are a company we have worked with quite a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. They've done excellent work. They built the freewheeling and rocky wheeling track on the mountain through sensitive environmental areas. They also worked on crosscut and upper luge through complex environmental constraints and heritage, particularly heritage constraints in that location.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
So a trusted contractor who does quality work.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. And just with regard to the weed control stuff, and we're confident they comply with that as well, that they wash their vehicles down before entering the site to make sure they're not bringing anything onto the site or taking anything away from the site.
Through you, Chair, absolutely.
This is a rhetorical question, probably. Yeah. Yep.
No, it's outlined in the Construction and Environmental Management Plan.
Yep.
It's a requirement of the Natural Values Assessment.
Yep.
It's standard practice for them to do that when they're doing other maintenance work. There's 4 listed weeds that are identified in the project area, and the Natural Values Assessment identifies the need to control them and do follow-up weed control 6 to 12 months later to ensure that there's no colonisation of new weeds in the corridor that's been disturbed by the new track construction.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kistos.
Thank you. I just speak to the microphone. Through you, Chair, to Greg. I'm just wondering, in regards to the planning of this track, whether any consideration has been given to electric mountain bikes and the fact that they ride the trails quite differently to your standard mountain bike. And this has caused some problems with the tracks on the mountains because they take shortcuts through some of the berms. And it ends up degrading the track much faster than would otherwise be expected. I'm just wondering if you could talk about how that might have been factored into the design of these trails.
Through you, Chair, I think the majority of these trails are fairly contour-based. There's 3 sections identify, meaning they're fairly gentle and don't have the majority of it doesn't have a lot of switchbacks. The area that creates the climbing trail beside the current yellow hippo is a steeper area and will have switchbacks. The main way I could respond to your question is that there are some examples where, like for example on Crosscut in the lower mountain, where we create official sanctioned shortcuts through a corner that can be hardened with stone and mean that that's an official way to shortcut a longer switchback for those people that have a electric bike and have more power to be able to do that. It's mostly it. Mostly, it's not going to have any different impact to a normal bike for the majority of that trail.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Hobart.
Just through to you, Chair. Mr. Muir, I have to face the microphone as well. It's possibly a rhetorical question, but I just I think it's worth discussing in public. Will the work on these tracks reduce erosion that is caused by cyclists' tyres on existing tracks up there that aren't as suitable?
Thank you.
Through you, Chair. Well, yes, the aim of this project is to create an official sanctioned connection between the suburbs of West Hobart and Mount Stewart and the lower foothills of the mountain, and by building a well-designed, purpose-built trail to international standards, we can ensure that the drainage and impacts on our trail are managed well, in short. So they replace unofficial informal tracks which don't necessarily have that outcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Any other? Can I just pause at this moment because we've got Councillor Kelly coming in, so he needs to be nominated or appointed there from what I remember. No? Yes?
Chair, I have delegation from the CEO to be able to appoint somebody who is a nominee member if they wish to sit as part of the Planning Authority Committee. Councillor Kelly, can I just confirm that's your preference tonight by joining the meeting? I formally appoint you as a member to the Planning Committee tonight, and you're now entitled to participate in the questioning and the vote.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Just a procedural thing we have to do.
Thank you. Yeah.
On this new planning structure that we have. Thank you. Thank you. Now, any other discussions? Any other questions? Councillor Kelly.
Yeah, I did speak with Mr McGrath today. He contacted me about the issue, as you've probably seen, relating to, and it's probably just a comment more than a question, that how some of the bikes are coming down into part of that area, causing erosion down into the gullies, which is going onto the road which goes into his property. And I think you might be aware of that, Property Director, with that. So I'm just passing on those comments, that as long as perhaps they could be looked at. And some of the evidence does look sort of possibly justified. I don't know, perhaps of your opinion on that? Or?
Through you, Chair, I'm sure the elected members have already considered the representation that's been provided on the hub. That representation relates to use of a fire trail by bicycles. That's not a private driveway. It is a fire trail that's not designed for bike use. So it's a very different context. Here we are the applicant is proposing a track that is specifically for bike use. So the issues that have been raised in representation are not really applicable, in my view, to the current application.
Just with regards to Councillor Kelly's questions, just through you, Chair, to the Director, is the road that's being affected public or private property? in those photos that we've been sent.
Through you, Chair, I might throw that one to Mr Milne.
Yeah, through you, Chair. That particular fire trial is on private land. It's Cascade land. It's 1 kilometre away from the proposal that's currently before you. It's a very localised impact on one table drain, and it's not something that we can control at all in that area. All we can control is on council managed land, and that's what this proposal puts forward, is an official sanctioned track that's well designed and built properly that deals with all those issues.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? Any other? Councillor Passol.
Just commentary now. Thank you for taking questions, everybody. It's great to see. It's always great to see new mountain bike trails being built, and there is a really key linkage here going back into Knocklofty. As it currently stands, Yellow Hippo is a fantastic, originally informal track, which is really important to point out, built by the community and then formalised by council some years later. It's very popular, and it's a great black descending track, one of only 2 that remain in this particular area, and there's no way to get back to the top of it once you're down. So the climbing track that runs parallel to it is a really fantastic initiative, and it will allow North Hobartians, West Hobartians, or anyone who starts their ride in Knocklofty to get to the mountain, to be able to get back without having to take some fairly unsatisfactory alternative options. And I guess it's great to see this is being built, but I think that we should always be cautious disturbing or closing unofficial trails that are very popular. And in this case, in particular, Business Time is a well-used, very popular track because it is one of few challenging technical descending tracks in this area. So I would encourage council officers who are doing the design work to consider allowing the junction to stay open so that Business Time can continue to be used and that it can be considered for formalisation in the future, rather than making efforts to prevent riders from riding a trail they've ridden for potentially decades, because we're building a new one, which is really, really great to see. I'm very excited to see it on the mountain. Thank everyone for their work, and I'll be one of the first riders to ride it, I'm sure.
Any other discussion, any other commentary? No, the item has been moved already by Councillor Passol, and I put that motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.1, Planning Advertised Applications Report.
So moved.
Someone move. Received and noted. Thank you, Councillor Passol. Any questions? All right, I'll put that. Those all in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. 7.2, Delegated Decision Report. Moved, received and noted. Any questions? No, I put that. Those in favour?
Can I ask a question?
Okay, take it back. And Councillor Passol.
Thank you. Item... it's actually got item numbers next to it. The Marine Terrace item, 13 Marine Terrace, alterations, extension deck, swimming pool and boat shed. I'm just wondering what implications that approval could have for the proposed Battery Point Walkway route if we're approving a boat shed. Is there a new jetty as well, or what? How does that impact the area? Thank you.
Chair, I might actually have to take that one on notice. I'm not 100% sure of the... I just need to clarify the Battery Point Walkway, just to double check against the plans, I think.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? No, so I'll put that. All in favour?
Aye.
Another question, Councillor Passol? No. Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Questions without notice? Any questions?
I just had one, Chair. I'm just wondering if we can get an update on the progress of the discussion paper for the Sandy Bay Mount Nelson Neighbourhood Plan.
Chair, I have to take that one on notice.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Someone would like to move that the meeting be closed. Moved, Councillor. Yes, so thank you. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody